Hello, welcome to Drop Yoga. I'm Carole Woodstock and I'm with Master Trainer Tracy Glennon. And today we're doing Yin Yoga. And it's actually my favorite yoga. If you're at home and you had an injury or you've never done yoga before, or even if you had a concussion and you're recovering from it, doing Yin Yoga is perfect because it's easy to follow, there's no flow, and you can basically do Yin Yoga anywhere. So drop everything, find a space in your home, and go and dress comfortable and meet us for Yin Yoga.
Okay, so let's take ourselves down to our mat and get started with our yin experience today. So a lot of yin is spent on the mat. So we're just going to come right down to a seated position on the mat. And one of the benefits of being in a seated position is being able in yin to really support your body through poses. So you want to feel like there's very little muscle activation in yin. Okay. We want to feel as though we are giving ourselves total relaxation in each pose. Okay? So we're going to start with our blocks. So we'll grab those, and if you don't have blocks at home, you're more than welcome to just use pillows, cushions, bolsters if you have from your couch. You could. Might not be that comfortable, but yeah, you can. So we're going to take the blocks, and we're going to go to butterfly position. And we're actually just going to rest the blocks underneath and hold on to our ankles. And just get a sense of what it feels like to all of a sudden have support. So if you were to take the support away, you'd notice the tension in your muscles. And our intention is to take away the tension today. Yeah, big difference, right? Yeah. So we're going to try in our poses today to support ourselves however we can. In restorative yoga, you use a lot of props. You use every pillow you have, use all kinds of stuff. But for today's class, you know, at home or here, we're just going to use a minimal amount and kind of use our body to prop ourselves up. Okay? So we're going to take ourselves right down to the ground. Okay? So bring your pillows or your blocks close to you at home. You want one by either side of your knee. And we're actually going to come right down to our back. So maybe grab a thigh and roll back onto your back. And we're going to take our arms out wide like the letter T beside us. We're going to bring our heels a little closer to our body. We're going to lift up our hips and move them to our left and drop our knees to the right till we catch that same block that we had before under our knees. So as we settle into this pose, we've begun to rotate through the body. And we want to really re-adhere or connect our left shoulder blade down. And really spread out our back as a place of foundation for us. Something interesting in this pose is we have all this unconscious tension in our body. And you might notice you're squeezing your bottom leg and you don't even know why. It's like being in the kitchen cooking and all of a sudden you're chopping vegetables and you're squeezing your butt and you have no idea why because you don't need it.
That's funny.
So the idea here is to let go of that tension.
Okay.
So as you settle into this pose, it might be more comfortable to move your heels further away or lift your knees or your block up a little bit higher. Something that lets you feel at ease in the pose.
So you want to play around a little bit, right? To find that comfortable spot?
Yeah. And once you find that spot, you're really seeking stillness. So the goal is that you settle in and you find a place where you are sort of comfortably uncomfortable.
And how long should we keep that stretch for?
So anywhere from kind of 2 to 5 minutes. There seemed to be a big trend to hold it a lot longer. But really, when your muscles start to constrict again, it's time to stop. You've gone too far too fast.
Okay.
So let's bring our knees back to center and center our spine on our mat. And we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So lift those hips, shift them over to the opposite side, and drop the knees onto the block again. And as we settle into the space on this side, you might find a big difference from one side of your body to the other. It's very common.
Yes, I do feel a difference.
Yeah. We have more rotation on one side of our body than the other often as well.
And so what would be the benefits from doing a yin yoga class?
So when you do a yin class, unlike a yoga class that really focuses on superficial muscle, you really are, as I said, getting into fascia. And the difference with this is that you're allowing your body an opening that it might not have otherwise. So yin is often practiced in a cooler environment. Yeah, and then your muscles don't heat up and you don't get your muscles involved in the movement.
I see.
So again, we can maybe shift our heels away or lift knees higher, whatever we need to be comfortable in this pose.
Feels good.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it feels good at home too.
And at home, we need to really reconnect our shoulder blades down. Think of your shoulder blades as kind of your foundation for everything in this pose.
And so what I like also about yoga is that if you're doing it at home, you don't need a mat. You don't need special clothing.
No.
You don't even need special props. You can make them yourselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Find things around your home that make you more comfortable in these positions. And always, you know, rolling mats or rolling blankets, anything that just feels like a prop, a sort of support for you that lifts the floor up to you is always a benefit. So just get into those closets, dig things out, ski jackets, you know, whatever will give you some extra space.
You can even do yoga in your pajamas. Nobody will see you.
We have probably.
I know.
So, yeah. So let's roll our top arm over to that left side. And we're just going to press ourselves up back to seated. And so as we settle into every pose, one of the things that we're really looking for is stillness. Now, I know for you and I here, because we're going through the poses a little more rapidly, we're not as still. But really, again, just finding a position where you feel, I could be here for a while. So unlike other types of yoga where we always are looking to feel something, you know, you're looking to feel your hamstring stretch or something stretch.
Right.
In this one, we need to accept that we might not feel as much till the next day when you feel great. You feel like your chest is more open, et cetera, et cetera.
You feel taller.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we come back, we'll move on to our stomach and see what poses we can find there. So welcome back. We're now going to move into some poses that are on our stomach, and we're really going to focus on our shoulders and our abdominals and our quads, possibly some areas in the front of our body that we don't stretch a lot. We always think about our hamstrings, right, or our glutes, so we're going to move into the front of the body a little bit.
And it's probably really good, too, if people are working at a desk or looking at a phone all the time and you're,
really counteract and open the front line of the fascia of the body.
Sounds good.
So let's come forward. We'll come on to all fours to start. And then we're just going to come right down to our bellies. So get comfy on your mat at home or your carpet at home. And we're going to bring our elbows underneath our shoulders. And as we bring our elbows under our shoulders, some of us might already feel a stretch in the abdominals. So let's separate our feet a little bit. And I actually want you to kind of give your butt a shake and just shake things out and feel like jello so that you loosen things up, because we really tense up our glutes a lot. And here I want everything to let the pelvis sink down to the floor.
It's hard to do.
Yeah. We just naturally tense everything. So we're just going to lift your ribs up like you're stretching your abdominals out and see if you feel something already. You might feel a stretch right there. Yeah. So this is called Sphinx Pose. And I mean, if we had the ability to lie over a giant yoga ball all day long, that would be great. We'd really stretch out our stomach. But in Sphinx Pose, we at least get a start. So an indicator in this pose would be to be cautious that you aren't feeling anything in your back.
Okay.
Okay? So speaking of stomach, what would, if I was going to come to a yoga class, what would you recommend that I eat before a yoga class?
Oh, my God. You don't want to eat too much. Obviously, because we're squeezing all these organs. So I would say just a tiny snack, something healthy, like maybe half a banana or like a date or something like that. Yeah, very light, easily digestible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can eat before yoga. It just has to be light.
Not a big meal.
Yeah. So not a pizza.
No.
Okay, good. Fair. So if you feel good in here and you feel like there's no tension in your back and you've managed to keep your butt kind of relaxed, some options to this pose, and I'm going to ask everyone at home to just be cautious and listen to your back, would be keep your elbows glued to the ground and open your hands like the letter V.
Okay.
And then you might slide your hands a little further away. And you might press gently into the ground and lift and just see what that feels like. Now remember, in yin, we hold poses for a long time. So we're used to a yoga class where we hold things for, 5 to 10 breaths. And here you're a couple minutes. So if you're feeling tension now, you're going to feel tension after. So really our intention is to settle into a pose at a level where we feel comfortable.
So if I've never done yoga before, and I want to be keen and try it and go all the way up, and I feel my back, I should release, right? Okay.
Yep, let's
I'll
bring
go
our
back down.
elbows back down.
So it's okay
right?
to modify.
Yeah, in fact, one of the indicators your body will give you is your body's going to start to shake. And your body will shake as a protective mechanism.
It's like a little party in your muscles.
Yeah, yeah. It's telling you you've gone too far too fast, right? And so when you shake, that's actually the exact opposite of what we're looking for. We're really looking for our bodies to settle.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe think of yin as baby steps. You know, every time you take a baby step getting into in and out of poses, that's going to allow you for full release.
Okay.
And that's one of the key components to yin, is allowing your body to just settle step by step into a pose. Yeah. It's like building a relationship with your body again. You're kind of building trust with your body.
So would you say it releases a lot of stress as well?
Yeah, one of the benefits for sure is it can reduce stress.
Okay.
You know, it brings a stillness to the body, and we aren't very still anymore. We're pretty busy people. So
it's go, go, go all the time.
Yeah. So you might come to a yin class and feel that you can't handle yin because it's too much stillness of your body.
I was going to say, if you're not used to relaxing, it's hard sometimes to just get in the pose and not move.
Yeah, and just settle.
So at home, I hope you're not moving too much.
And, you know, if you're at home practicing, you want to make sure that give yourself time to do this practice. You know, you want to be able to incorporate yoga when you can in your day. But if you come into yin and you're already full of tension and you're thinking about what's next,
right?
That's a tough way to go into it. Yeah, for sure. So I believe we stretched the abdominals a little bit. So we're going to move into another pose that's going to move into the front of our legs, our quads.
Okay.
It's called cat pulling its tail. It's an odd name for it. Yeah. So what we're going to do is just lower your body down and send your left arm in front of you. So you and I are going to face away from each other. We'll face over to the side. And at home as well, you'll be on your side. But I'll cue you. So let's roll onto our left hip. So we're now facing the side. When we face the side, if we feel tension here, we might bend our top leg and drop it down. But we're probably pretty good. It might be pretty comfortable here. So let's take the top leg and bring it in front of us in a 90-degree angle. Your knee is on the floor. And the option would even be to put a block, if you wanted, under that knee. There are many variations of this pose, and I'm just showing you one of them. Now, we haven't really stretched anything yet.
No?
So we're going to now, no.
I feel the stretch already.
You might feel it,
I'm not quite sure where, but...
Yeah. So the bottom leg that we have long, we're going to bend that knee. And then you might even have to lift up and look for where your foot is back there. Lift it up in the air and reach back with your hand and take hold of that foot. Beautiful. And at home, sometimes the foot is far away, and that's okay. And sometimes your hamstring responds a couple of times, and you just have to let it go and come back to it. So we have moved into the front of that bottom leg. So the way to increase our stretch here is actually to move the knee back. So Carole, you'd move your back knee towards me. You'd slide your knee back, like pull on your leg and drop back, like a cat pulling its tail. Yeah.
Feels like pretzels.
Yeah. It does a little bit. It's a little twisted, this pose. Yeah.
So what would be the benefits for this one?
So I've now moved into my hip flexor, probably on the bottom leg.
Yep.
And my quadricep on the bottom leg as well.
Yep.
So for anyone who runs or bikes,
I was going to say for
stretch.
runners, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And would you do that pose before running or after?
You'd probably do it after because it's quite a static pose once you're in it.
Yep.
And you could be in this pose for up to 4 minutes on each side.
Wow.
Yeah. We're just going to do a couple today, so we're going to switch sides in a second. But let's feel like we're opening that top shoulder, almost like we're looking up to the ceiling. Roll your top shoulder open a little bit. Sometimes this pose is taught with the full back on the floor, but this is a really nice way to start off this pose. So let's release our bottom foot, bring our top hand back to the mat and roll back to our bellies, just so we can set ourselves up on the other side.
Okay.
So let's send our opposite hand out and roll onto our side. And we will bring the block under our knee again if we'd like. And then we're going to bend our back foot and reach back forward again.
You can almost do this as you waking up in your bed.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be a lot more comfortable.
And could you do those poses but not in sequence? So just, for example, doing this one in the morning.
Absolutely. These are great poses before bed as well. So they're just a great way to bring some openness to the joints.
Would you warm up a little bit before doing them? You know, would you do it cold?
It's usually done cold because we want to try to stay out of the muscles. So you don't really have to warm up. You just have to take time once you're in them.
Okay.
So we're going to draw back the bottom foot. And you might walk your fingers down closer to your heel.
So if I'm not comfortable grabbing my foot, so let's say I'm at home and I've never done yoga, and for me this is way too complicated or too hard, what would you suggest?
Well, you might have used a towel to loop around your foot, which means you'd have a little more space in the pose.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And so we'll leave this here, and when we come back, we'll move into some of the poses that might take us right to bed before we go to sleep at night.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to move into a really common yoga pose that people love. So if a yoga instructor asks people what they want to do in class, they always want to do pigeon pose.
Okay.
It's a big release. Today we're only going to do it for, 90 seconds on each side. But pigeon is a pose because so many muscles move into the hips that you could do for, 4 minutes, 5 minutes on each side. So a couple options to get into it. So I'm going to take you to all fours. So at home you can be on all fours.
Yep.
Or you actually could go to downward dog.
So which option would be the easiest if someone has never done it?
All fours.
Okay, so I'll do that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll do it from downward dog then. And really the idea is you just want to get your right knee to your right wrist. So we're going to lift from all fours or downward dog, your right leg to the sky. Just push it behind you.
And I stay in downward.
Yeah, you can stay on all fours.
Perfect.
And let's lift now. Take your right knee into your wrist and put it down. Yeah.
Okay.
So Pigeon Pose has lots of
feel
options.
that.
Yeah, me too. Our eyes just got bigger here. So options for Pigeon Pose is to try to lift the floor up to us. So if you tucked a block under that hip, it is such a relief for your body.
That feels way better.
Yeah.
So at home, try to tuck in maybe a towel or a cushion. Yeah.
And
makes
at home,
a huge difference.
Really watch that your front knee isn't really in front of your belly. It's out to the side. There's an angle here.
I always thought that you had to have your legs square, but I can't get there.
No, and the reason why people feel it in their knee, but it's actually your hip telling you no. Your hip doesn't have enough mobility and rotation, so it torques your knee. So if you're feeling pain in your knee, you just want to make sure that you either choose one of the options I'm about to show or decrease the intensity by tucking your heel in. So I'm going to leave you there. Is that all right?
Great.
Okay. And I'm going to remove my block and say, if your front knee's feeling this, drop into your hip and bend your back knee back. And you've now kind of got two 90-degree angles, and you're just in another stretch. This is called runner stretch.
So that would be great for someone who's starting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
have an injury or...
Perfect.
Kay.
Or you can always flip on your back and just, that kind of old high school stretch where you just cross an ankle over. You can go there as well. Okay. So from pigeon, again, you could be here for a long time on either side, but we're going to release and move to the other side. So the best way to come out of pigeon, and you might have been on your belly or up high, is push into your hands again.
Yeah.
Plant your back toes and go back to all fours. Or go back to downward dog again. So whichever one you want to be in. And then you're just going to draw the opposite knee in. Beautiful. And we have all those same setup options here. So you can tuck a block, you can go to hurdlers.
So again, like you said before, at home, I'm not sure if you're feeling this, but there's a side that will feel different, and that's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a dominant side, right? Often a side that's a little tighter than another.
Because I know when I'm running, I feel my right leg more than my left leg. So right now, this feels a bit tighter.
Yeah, you feel it on this one.
Yeah. So those stretches are great for runners, actually, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And in this one, because it's yin, you might just snuggle down in this pose. You might put a blanket or a pillow under you as well, and you can come down a little bit lower in it and really just start to listen to where can you be still in this pose.
And would that be a bit more advanced?
I'd say yes and no. There's a lot of benefit to staying up high because gravity is drawing my hips
pressing down. Yeah.
So you might feel it more up here than when you actually forward fold in the pose.
And if I have a block, obviously I'm not feeling that gravity pulling down, right? So okay.
You gave yourself some extra
So
support in it as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So as we settle into this pose again, you'll start to work your way through this one. And I guess one last note is just notice if maybe, I don't know if there's a word for cheating in yoga, but if maybe you're sitting down to avoid the sensation,
yes,
you might want to prop yourself up again.
Okay.
It's just a way to, ensure that you're getting the best benefit out of the pose that you can. So we're going to remove our blocks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we're going to drop into our hip and swing our back leg around.
Okay.
And a nice way to finish the yin experience might be, a nice meditation or sitting up tall and just taking note of the space in your spine. So thank you for joining us today for yin.
See you next time.